1. Oh, perfect. Cheers. Hey, hello, everybody. Here we are, Christmas special. The last session for LimbPower members before the holidays. We won't be here the week between that Christmas and New Year period, and then we should be back first week of January on that Thursday. So put that in your diaries. I have a Christmas special in the form of a 12 Days of Christmas Qigong set, carefully crafted by Helen, my partner. So we've got, you will be familiar with the song, of course, Partridge in a Pear Tree, Two Turtle Doves, Three French Hens, da da da. And we've paired each of those with what we think is a fitting movement. It seems to have gone down well in our community classes. It seemed to go down well with wheel power that I did on Wednesday and various other folks. So seated, standing, are you ready for 12 Days of Christmas? Don't expect me to sing. I don't have a singing voice. But let me start by standing up. And there we go. And we've got, on the first day of Christmas, my true love brought to me a partridge in a pear tree. What movement could we do here? Let's do stork pays homage to the moon, which I think fits very nicely as we bring the hands up and then down, palms together if possible, elbows out, and then relax. I think that's very partridge-like. Could be a big breath in, and then down, just like so. And we'll do one more before we move on in the song. So there you go, a partridge in a pear tree. There you go, that's as close as you're going to get to me singing. What comes next? 2 turtle doves. So we're going to do white dove spreads its wings. Of course we are. Again, seated or standing. If you wish and can, you might want to emphasize the right leg or the right hip if you are seated. And then we're opening our wings and we'll do 3 wing beats on this side. Could be a breath in as we open, breath out as we close. Or just breathe comfortably. That's it. And then if you want to have some form of emphasis on the left side, let me do that. A little turn in that direction. Could just be a turn out of a foot, even if you're seated. And we do our wing beats, 3 of them, for 2 turtle doves. Now, you might be expecting us to now do partridge in a pear tree again. But can you imagine if we do that all the way through? We'll probably be here for 2 hours. So we're not going to do that. What to do is go through. Oh, we've got Nazreen coming in. Let's see if we can get Nazreen in. What we're going to do is go all the way up to 12 and then we'll come back down. So on day 3, my true love brought to me 3 French hens, and we're going to do a little homage to the earth and sky. Goes like this. Again, you might be able to have a little bit of an emphasis on one leg, the lead leg, right leg, and we lift the hands and arms up, and we look up towards the sky, and then we bring our hands down, and then we take a little bow. So we just do a little bow and we push the hands behind us just like so, and then come back up, and then here we go again, lifting up, gently down, little bow, don't overdo it, like so. So we'll do 2 on each leg respectively, i.e. emphasis. So I've got my left leg, I've just turned it out on this side, lifting up, lifting the rib cage. and down, and then back up again. So it's a real full body movement, this one. Lots required in order to stabilize. Well done. Ooh. What we figured out is that it turns out to be quite a workout, this little 12 days of Christmas. So day 4. On day 4, we got 4 calling birds. You're going to notice that there's a lot of feathered friends in this particular set, as there is in all Daoyin or Qigong sets. Birds seem to be the main inspiration. So we've got a lovely crane movement for 4 calling birds. We're going to place one palm on top of the other. We're going to roll the wrists up and the fingers kind of drag behind. We go as high as we feel. Roll the fingers up over the top and then the wrists lead down. And then again, we get this little press behind. Again, think of a rib cage lifting a bit as we do so. Could lift the head and then just relax and then place the other hand on top. Roll the hands up, roll them down, press the palms as we lift just a little bit through the rib cage. Let's go again. Hand on top. Could be a breath in, that feels good, and then a nice easy breath out if you wish. And then up we roll and down. Fab. So that was our 4 calling birds. Here we go. We've got 5 gold rings. Anyone in a choir or a singing group? Oh, see a hand from Kate. So yes, you'll probably have a better voice than me. So we're going to do the Wheel of Life. That seemed apposite to do for 5 gold rings. So we're going to do 5 circles in one direction and 5 circles in the other. We're going to make it a little bit different though. Let me come closer. In fact, I'll do it seated. Let me join people seated. We can take hold of our wrists, okay? And then we can circle them. Doesn't matter which direction you choose, and we create our rings by circling our forearms up and down and around. And we'll do that 5 times in one direction. Excellent. For 5 gold rings. I think this is the 5th circuit for me in this direction. And then go the other way. Lovely one for the shoulders. Again, one that you can moderate and adapt so that you can work within a range that suits you. And you can go nice and steady. And because the hands support one another via the wrists, we've got some stability as well through the upper arms. Now then, I think that was the 5th one. I'm going to bring it to a close there because we next have on the 12 days of Christmas, day 6, True Love Brought to Me, 6 geese a laying. So we're going to do one of our favorites, Wild Goose. I'm going to go back to standing and I'm going to turn my back a bit because I think it helps for this movement. Can you see me? Well, I don't need to go that far. If we can, if we're standing, hands can rest on our tailbone, the sacrum. If we're sat down, you might start with your hands on the tops of your thighs or the sides of your thighs. But we need to let that right hand and arm release and sweep forwards and up and create this lovely round shape through the elbow into the shoulder. And then we turn to look under that arm as if we're a goose preening our under feathers. And then we unwind. And then we sweep that hand back where it came from. And as we do so, we turn to release the left wing or left arm Let that sweep up, lots of roundness through the elbow into the shoulder. Turn, have a little preen under there as well. Unwind, sweep the hands back. And then this is where we get very spectacular. We stretch out all our feathers. And then carefully fold our wings back into place, just like a wild goose. Should we do that one again? Let's do right wing. Spread those feathers. Have a turn and a little preen of the under feathers. Unwind. Replace that wing. Get ready to do the same with the left. A little turn and a look and a preen. And then unwind. Refold. And then we get ready just to show how lovely we are. We spread both our wings and then we fold them back into place. Wild goose. I really like that one. So that gets us halfway through. Perfect. It's 1:45. Here we go. 7 swans, a swimming. So what we're going to do is another wild goose movement, and we can start with, again, same sort of start position where we had both hands behind, or again seated, hands on the hips, and we're going to be like an elegant swan this time. We're going to lift one wing and then we're going to lower it. I'm going to turn to the camera so you can see that I sweep it across my hips and take my opposite hip. So this is my left hip. And then I turn in that direction. You get this very elegant turn. And then you unwind. Then we swap hand places. And this time the left wing lifts very gently. Just a little wing lift. Bring it down, sweep that across now to my right hip, and I turn in that direction, looking down a little bit as well. So you need to think of yourself as a very elegant swan. Swap hands, get ready to do the same with the right wing. Just as before, sweep across to the left hip and turn in that direction, looking down, unwind. And then finally, left wing. Very elegant, I think. Turning and unwinding. Excellent. So, 7 swans are swimming. On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love brought to me, does anyone know? 8 maids are milking. And we couldn't do our Daoyin movements without a reference to Dr. John de Guggen, surgeon and doctor in China during the late 1800s, who wrote down many of these movements for us to enjoy now. And this is one of them. Pull the cow's tail, or pull the oxen's tail is the better word. So we're going to have our right hand in front of our right shoulder. Our left hand is hanging down, holding onto our oxen's tail, and then we're pushing and pulling in opposite directions and looking to the left hand, and we create this diagonal line, and then we unwind, and then we do the same on the opposite side. Left hand ready to push, right hand ready to pull, turn and pull, looking down towards that right hand. If you can make that diagonal line, that's great, but don't worry if you can't. Work comfortably. Let's go again. Right hand pushing, left hand pulling, just like so. Super movement for the back and the shoulders. Here we go. Left hand pushing, right hand pulling. Perfect. There we go. 8 maids a milking. Now, very gracefully, we've got 9 ladies dancing. What could we do there? Oh, we've got some lovely shabashi movements that are very redolent of ballet. Do you remember? We've got one in particular, and if I do this one seated to join, again, people who are seated, called Phoenix Rising. Lovely idea. So it involves some weight shift or an attempt at some weight shift from one side to the other. We start with our hands like so. So it looks like a ballet position already, doesn't it? So we're going to sweep our hands in a big wing beat. We're going to see if we can bring the backs of our hands together at the top. And we're going to look up to the right and see if we can get some weight shift on that side, and we do a big wing beat, and then we stabilize ourselves as we come down, and then we do the same on the left. You should feel the muscles of the trunk really working to stabilize you as you shift that weight, even if you're seated. In fact, they work really hard when you're seated. And down very gracefully for our ladies dancing. Oh, excuse me. Got a tickly cough. I'm going to go one more to the other side. And that's a little cue for me to have a little bit of water. Okay, so that was 9 ladies dancing. Who comes next? It's Lords leaping. And I wondered, okay, what can we do for Lords leaping? It's quite difficult for us, particularly if we've got lower limb prosthetics, to leap about, isn't it? I don't leap about. Do you leap about? Probably not. So I thought, okay, what can we do? I thought we might do the Wheel of Life. Kind of has a kind of leapy quality, a bit to it. Involves more rotation. I'm holding an imaginary balloon or ball, and I'm going to turn to one side. Doesn't matter which. Lift that ball up, circle overhead, and then come back down on the other side. And we can circle 3 times around. So it's a big rotation of the trunk and the hands and arms and shoulders. And again, it's one of those that really works the torso quite significantly. Here we go, back the other way. Up and round and down. Big circles, or as big as you can possibly make them. Here's our last circuit. Up we go. And down. Fantastic. So that gets us to our penultimate movement. On the 11th day of Christmas, True Love brought to me 11 pipers piping. And we thought, oh, there's a movement that's kind of redolent of piping, and it's called gazing at the moon, because we make this kind of a little hand gesture, don't we, as if we might be holding a pipe or a flute. And so we're going to sweep our hands to the right, look up to the moon, and then sweep the hands to the left, making that same kind of gesture. So we're very flamboyant pipers, I think, from one side and then to the other. I'm going to go once more on this left side for me. And that leaves us with our final movement, 12 drummers drumming. And we can do bounce the ball or bang the drum, this movement again. I'll do it standing, I think. Again, for those people who feel up to it, there's a bit of a balance challenge here, but don't push too far into this one. You don't need to see my legs so much. So first of all is to get a bit of a rhythm. We need to imagine we've got either two balls that we bounce alternately or two drums like kettle drums that we bang alternately. So a good way to do this is to just get the hands bouncing or banging your drums respectively in a nice steady rhythm. And then when you're ready, again, whether you're seated or standing, see if you can move your weight in the direction of the beating hand, whichever one it is, in time. So I'm moving my weight toward the hand that does the bounce of the ball or the bang of the drum. So that in itself could be quite a challenge for some people. If you're up for even more of a challenge, you bring a leg into that direction and then back and then to the other side. So you might need to slow down. So you're shifting your weight and taking a step. If you sat down, you might be able to lift a thigh or lift a knee. So now that requires some coordination. So it's okay to slow the beat or the rhythm down so you've got time to think and feel your way through. Okay. And if you need to rest, you can just stop all of that movement and just come back to our steady beat or bounce of each respective hand. And we'll do one more on each side. And that's the 12 days of Christmas. And now we're going to head all the way back rather rapidly through each of the days until we get back to a partridge in a pear tree. We've done day 12. We're back to day 11. Do you remember? We were gazing at the moon for 11 pipers piping. Let's just do 2 on each side. Here we go. Sweeping the hands from one side to the other. Nice and easy. That leads us to 10 lords of leaping. And we were holding a ball or a balloon. And we'll just do one circle around in one direction because it's a big movement. And then we'll do one circle up and round in the other direction. And then we've got our ladies dancing. So here's our big wing beat. We kind of take our ballet-esque position. I'm going to head to my right with some weight shift. Big wing beat. We'll do 2 on each side. And looking very Swan Lake-like, I think. We could all audition. Maybe for the Royal Ballet. Fab. I like that movement. That's really nice. So we've done 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids milking. So do remember, pull the cow's tail or pull the oxen tail. I've got my right hand ready to push. I've got my left hand pulling and I turn, stretch through the shoulders and chest. And then left hand, same thing, right hand pulling. And again, we'll do this once more on each side. Here we go. Excellent. 8 maids are milking. 7 swans are swimming. Do you remember? Little graceful lift of a wing. Let's start with the right side. Little lift. A sweep across the hips to the opposite side on the left and a look to the left, like a graceful swan. And then we do the same with the left hand. Lift, sweep across, take the right hip, look to the right. Lots of good rotation. Here we go again. Right hand, sweeping around, turning, looking, unwinding. Last time, left wing. Reaching around to the right and looking in that direction, unwinding. So that was 7 swans are swimming, 6 geese are laying. So this was our wild goose. Let me turn my back a little bit. We'll just do this once on each side and then our big unfurling of our wings. So here we go. First wing, the right side sweeping up and round, having a little turn and look and preen. And then we're going to do the left side, sweep up, a little turn, look, and then for the finale of this movement at least, our big sweep of both wings, folding our feathers back in place, which brings us to 5 gold rings. Do you remember? We linked hands or linked the hands at the wrists, and we'll just do, shall we, 3 rotations in each direction. You choose which way to go first of all. So we'll do 3 on each direction for our gold rings. So I'm going round the other way now. I think you can see it's quite a workout, isn't it, to do the full 12 days. For calling birds. This is our crane movement, where we place one hand on top of the other and we roll the wrists up and roll them down. And we part the hands for a little push. And then we'll place the opposite hand on top, roll the hands up, roll the hands down, and part. Beautiful. 3 French hens is our movement of homage to the earth and sky. Again, might be an emphasis on the right side or right leg, and we're lifting the hands up. We're lifting the rib cage if we can, and the head looking up. And when we slowly come back down, we take a bow. Push the palms behind. Don't go too far. Back upright. Let the hands relax. And then might be just a turn out to the left foot or just a little step. I'll leave that up to you. Or an emphasis if you are seated as we lift. And then once again, the hands come down and we take a bow. For 3 French hens. Our penultimate movement, 2 turtle doves. White dove spreads its wings. And here we go. We'll once again maybe have a little bit of an emphasis on one leg, right leg in this case for me. Outstretch your wings and we'll do a wing beat on this side 2 times. So, and then little change of emphasis, sort of in the left, 2 wing beats, the 2 turtle doves, and very gracefully we get back to a partridge in a pear tree. And I will sit down for this one. 3 times. Hands come up. Bring the hands together. Down slowly, slowly. Elbows out. Palms as close together as you can, but don't force things. And then relax. Lift. Once more. Hands come down. Here we go. Final one. Or a partridge in a pear tree. And it just seems so right. Fab. And it fits in roughly perfectly in time. 12 days of Christmas. Thank you so much. For those people who are watching later, I hope you enjoy that, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas in whatever way you can, and you also have a very Happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you in the new year too. So until then, take care. I will stop recording